Hey, it's Nixie for part 2 of Heckin' Dark Cloud 2, and we are going to go through this forest and beat up some skeletons and flowers and walking trees. Woo! That's an intro. Let's go. So we find ourselves on a train heading towards Sundane, but then we have Flotsam, the Heckin' clown that will never leave us alone, no matter what. What's the best solution? Just to yeet bombs at him. It wasn't that hard in the speed up mode, it was pretty much the same as normal, just time your throws a bit better, and actually aim. Wasn't that bad at all. God man, put some clothes on, jeez. There's kids on this train. And right after Flotsam gets his butt whipped, we move on to Sundane where the train can no longer move forward. So we just take a quick break from the train ride, and Monica will tell us all about the actual plot of the game. And so begins our adventure with Max and Monica, the two iconic characters of my childhood. Let's do this. It was now at this point when I realised that my audio wasn't coming through. So after a little fixing of the stream and figuring out that the bitrate was absolute garbage, hopefully from now on the quality is beautiful. I'm sorry about the quality, I've definitely learned from my mistakes, it's all improved now. So going forward, nice audio, nice visuals, and we can actually hear the game for how fast it really is.
What is it? What do you two want?
Hey, you're from the Furbit tribe of Sundane, aren't you? It's so cute, all curly and everything.
Hey! Hey!
That's right. There's something I want to ask you, okay?
This is how you ask a favor.
Oh, sorry.
Oh!
Monica goes ahead and asks the Furbits to help us on our journey. We then learn that the Furbits themselves have a bit of a problem. A girl named Holly got lost in the wood, and some of their own mates went to go looking for her, but none of them have come back, with all the expectations that they've all been lost by the rainbow butterfly. With the first floor, I decided to give Monica a good old shot, and it wasn't that hard to use her. The only main problem is the damage change. Everything does way more damage than you used to, and everything has different attack patterns to what you used to in the previous level. But overall, after a bit of getting used to it, taking the skeletons out one by one, Camaradas weren't that hard either, nothing was that bad. At one point, I actually managed to get the goo effect, so the eye was slowed down, but everything still ran at a fast speed. Attacking felt like a normal game of Dark Chronicle, nothing really changed, so it was kind of cool to see everything else move really fast and you move really slow. It was quite interesting, actually. But after a while, it wore off, and we can beat the level. Monica decides to give us a tutorial on how to synthesize your weapons. I guess now's a better time than any to explain the level up path I'm going to take for all their weapons. This is the level up path for Max's wrench. As you can see, it kind of looks a bit complicated, but there's a lot here you don't really need to focus on. Let's start off by cleaning this up. There we go. So I removed a bunch of figures and cleaned up a lot of things that aren't too necessary, but there are the speeder ones and just things I'm not ever going to use, so let's just remove them as well. Another little thing that's not too important in this experiment is the attack values, which will be removed. So now that we've simplified everything down, we either have to pick from the grade 0 or the legend. The reason why I want to pick them beforehand is because of the elemental types, and just because I want to pick something different. Generally, when I'm playing this game, I think I've always gone for the grade 0, I think only one time I went to legend, so I'll probably end up going for legend because why not? If I ever get the tuna fish, I might move my drill wrench or a smash wrench onto the tuna fish because I just want to whack things with a tuna. It only gets more complicated from here because this is Max's guns. So, we start off with the dry gun or the classic gun. Simple enough, we have the dry gun that's already the bell trigger. But first of all, let's clean up what we don't need. Alright, all the values that aren't necessary to our thing are gone. If the game's being sped up, I want a super fast gun. So we're going for the last resort for this game. So, taking out all the pathways that we can't take, we're left with 2 pathways to take, either going for the Magic Gun, Soulbreaker, Desperado, and Last Resort, or the Starbreaker, Wildcat, or Sexy Panther. And to be honest, I always go with the Magic Gun to get to the Supernova, so I'm going to go the bottom path to try out some new guns. Monica's up next. We have the Magic Blizzard as a starter point, and we can either make it to the Love or the 5-star Amulet. Now, I'm not sure what's really best. I looked at all the other elements we have covered so far, and it looks like I want to cover lightning or air with this. I don't like how the air amulet looks, so I'm going to go with thunder. So we're going to shoot sparks out of Monica's arm, and we're going to pick a path that's lightning based. So once again, we removed all the attack values that aren't important, and then we removed all the paths that aren't lightning based. Having a look, this is the most lightning based path, going to the Destruction Blizzard and the Satan Blizzard, and that also means that we get to choose between the Love and the 5-star Amulet still. A little annoying because I wanted to have it more of a plain sailing choice, but we can always see or change our mind if need be. Oh boy, here we go, Monica's sword. If you thought all the other things are complicated, this one is going to be a process. Alright, so same routine, start removing the complicated figures. Next up, remove all the swords that connect to the Island King. Island King is an ugly sword, I'll pass. Next up, I want to pick a sword that I haven't used before, so the Muramasa is out of the question. Next up, I removed all the swords and other side swords that kinda aren't really useful and that I don't want to get, like the 7-branch sword I probably won't use, or the bone rapier I probably won't use either, so I just removed all the pathways that do not work out. Which leaves us with the Chronicle 2, the Atlamelia sword, and the Dark Cloud. Taking a close look at my options, the Atlamelia sword was not available, so I removed that from my options. This just left 2, the Chronicles 2, and the Dark Cloud. So this leaves 2 swords to go that I've never used before, the Chronicle 2 or the Dark Cloud, and I want to go off the path that's a lot more exciting. The Chronicle 2 looks really exciting, plus it's wind based, which is the element that we're missing, so we're going to go with Chronicle 2 as our weapon of choice. Alright then, back to the action. In the second level, we're introduced to 2 new enemies, the Pumpkinhead and the big scary walking tree, oh and the moles, but we'll come back to those later. Right now, the Pumpkinheads aren't that bad to beat. They can throw bombs that will penetrate your defences, but shooting them or just whacking them quickly will deal with them. But the walking trees, they were not easy. I tried running at them with Ripod, didn't work. They attack extremely quickly and give very little indication of when they're going to attack. Knowing that I actually have to take down some trees somehow, I go in with Max, throw my winch at him, and seeing if it does 14 damage, I was not willing to risk taking the hits. So once again I run away. So I did the Kingdom X strategy, where you just stand back and shoot it from a distance and just pray that it works. You might be burning through bullets, might do very little damage, but in the end it will get there. Max does manage to pull through and beat the final tree, and then we finish the level. Moving on. Hopefully we don't have to encounter those trees ever again. Now, this level contains a seal, which means that one of your characters is restricted. In this case, it's Max, so you have to beat this whole level with only using Monica. Red is Monica, blue is Max. That's pretty much how it works. The level isn't that bad, only one enemy is really a problem. It's just the tortoise. It attacks pretty quickly, it's immune to projectile attacks, pretty much, and it can't move very fast. Doesn't mean it's not very deadly. So I tried throwing some rocks at it, seeing if that would work. But it does a lot of damage, so I was not prepared to risk that, and I came back to deal with them later. I came up with the idea of throwing bombs at them because it's just an easy way to deal lots of damage, and it's effective. I had just enough nut bombs to take down 2 of them, but for the rest I'd use a lot more bigger bombs.
Looks like you got 'em all. Hey, there they are. The whole lot of them.
Hold on, something's up.
Huh? Yeah, something weird's going on.
Oh, rats, everyone's gone all weird. The fish aren't biting. What a drag. What happened to them? Beats me. I got separated from my 3 buddies, and when I saw them again, they were like that. They weren't going anywhere, you see, so I'm just killing time with a little fishing.
Well, with some time to spare, Max decides to go fishing and ends up bringing up the big mother of all fishes, the heckin' beautiful fish of the lake monster swamp.
Kill to the lips. If it's your doing, I won't forgive this. You've got all that fishing gear, so you may as well use it, don't you think? Do you get my drift? A pristine fish. Okay, and when we get it, we want you to return those 3 back to normal. Yes, I know. You don't have to tell a man twice.
What? You're a guy?
I'll be waiting. You got it! Oh, excellent! This lovely pristine fish will kiss all the grime off my body and make me look stunning again. Yeah! Oh. Right, you promised to return those 3 to normal. Oh yes, of course. Is this what you're after? Hey!
How is everyone?
Oh, they suddenly returned to normal. I'm so relieved I can't tell you.
What in the world have I been doing? I cannot remember a darn thing.
Guys, we should come up with a plan first. Let's go back to Sundane.
We were gone a long time. What have you been up to?
We'll tell you everything later.
With the Furbit saved, they agree to help us on rebuilding the origin point, so this is where our journey of terraforming begins. Or so it would be, if I didn't want to continue exploring. So, time to find some Geostones and finish off the rest of these levels. There were a few close calls in level 4, but nothing too extreme that I couldn't handle.
Looks like we got 'em all.
In level 5 I managed to get a bandit coin, which is a heckin' great find. So basically, whenever you kill an enemy, it has a greater chance of dropping its item drop. That is then followed up by a blue seal level where you can only use max, but you also get Ripod to help you out too, which doesn't make it very difficult to be honest. But the main problem here is the fairies. If you want to even call them a problem, just shoot them with the gun, it's quite easy.
Alright, that takes care of you guys.
With a few Geostones under my belt, I decided to just relax for a bit and start doing some Georama and making Sundane whole again. With my little chill break over, I decided to let Ripod have a go and just beat every single enemy using Ripod, and oh boy, was it a fun level. The next level had nothing of note, so moving on. But the last level of this bunch has a white seal. So the red seal means you can't use max, the blue one means you can't use Monica, but the white seal prevents you from healing, which is quite difficult when you take a lot of damage throughout the entire run. Let's see how this one plays out. We come up against a lot of enemies that will automatically break through your defenses and take damage if you're blocking or not. All my characters had already taken damage. There was one healing point which we were allowed to use, but other than that, this was going to be a rough battle. And just right then, I realised that I ran out of disk space. The recording stopped, and that was all the last level I could show you. I'm so sorry. I did manage to beat it, but it was very rough, and all my characters were on critical health at the end of it. Ripod was down, nothing really went my way in that level. Something of course had to go wrong. In the last video, it was the sound and the visuals. Now it's just that I lost a lot of footage, but live and learn. With all the Geostones obtained, I decided to go back to Sundane and finish building the origin point. But there was one thing that we're missing to finish the origin point, and that was recruit people from Palm Brinks to bring to the rest of the world. Make them all go on an adventure and populate the rest of the world. So I'm going to go through a quick montage on me recruiting everyone in the Palm Brinks area. It turns out here is actually one of the first problems I've had with it speeding up, is that I can't perform a full combo. Monica attacks too quickly for me to keep up. I have to mash the X button if I want to perform a full combo, otherwise Monica will keep repeating the first two attacks. With all the people in hand, I decided to finish the origin point for Sundane, and then head over to the future to talk to Jurak, the Elder Tree, the one who knows all about the past. Or at least about flowers.
Oh, hello. So, you were the ones who woke me.
Max, listen. What? If I use this badge, I can transform into monsters. I can change myself into the Hamara monsters Jurak mentioned. Then we can mix in with them and maybe get our hands on that sun drop we need.
Got it. Nice. I've been getting a lot of sun drops lately. That's when they've come out my ears. Take some from me, would ya? Here.
With all the items that we need, it was time to take on the rainbow butterfly and find out what really happened to Holly.
Is this a flower? It's huge.
It's a Lafretia.
I started off being a complete idiot, thinking I needed to take a picture of the rainbow butterfly, so I get hit a few times. But as time moves on, it doesn't take too long for me to figure out how to beat the first phase. I kind of forgotten about beating up the flower in the middle. As for the second phase though, well, it was a bit more annoying. But once I figured out how to crouch and sneak up on them properly, it was a lot easier. But there was a bit of struggling right at the beginning. And it turns out the rainbow butterfly was Holly all along. Hey, so that's it. That's Sundane, and we're moving on to Balance Valley next episode. So I guess thanks for watching to the end. Wow. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.